Well, what's up, y'all? Okay, so today I wanted to go over a few things really quick so we could get this group project actually starting to roll. I'm receiving a lot of attention and feedback asking the question, what do we do now? What is the next step in the process? Well, today we're going to discuss how to put an asynchronous group together and make it so that it's workable in a feasible and efficient manner for both you and the rest of your peers in your group so that you can best complete all of the assigned tasks to date. So this is my Aaron's non-elaborate guide for doing an asynchronous group project together. So step one, well, let's talk about a pre-step one. A pre-step one is go over your ELMS page and make sure that you're not missing any major assignments, whether it's the outline or the persuasive speech itself due proper, or even if you have some earlier makeup speeches that you still need to get done, please go back and figure out those parts of what is missing, and I will accept anything up until the last day of class or until I do my final grades proper, which is to say I'm going to be as flexible as humanly possible with each and every one of you. And please let me know if any sort of logistical, technical, or real concerns come up in that process so that I can better help you or at least help what you are doing. Now let's get to the actual step one. Step one is figure out who's in your group. I'm sure a lot of you have already probably done this, and if so, you can skip ahead in the video, but right now we need to figure this out. So I would either go to the announcement page and check out who is in your group to figure out who they are, and so you could work the ELMS directory or the kind of like UMD directory to set up like an email of the best way to contact each other, or you could go to the ELMS page, go over to people, go over to groups. In the Groups tab, what you're going to notice is that here are all of the groups for all of the classes. And I would go to your group specifically, and it will allow you to best figure out who are the people in your group and what is the best way for you to start to contact them. I believe all of the emails, and I believe there should also be an option for you to be able to quickly email from this category. I cannot see it because I'm in student view and I'm not in any of these groups, so it won't let me quickly email you all as it would if I'm in instructor view in any given moment. And so that is probably the easiest way for you to figure out who's in your group and start this contact and communication process, which then gets us to step two. I would send out a message, and the best way for you all to keep contact with your group or one another. It can be a GroupMe, it can be an email chain, it can be ELMS, it can be Google Hangouts, it can be Zoom, it can be LinkedIn. I don't even care if it's MySpace, but figure out the best way in which you can all just like contact each other and have an easy way to say, I'm going to do X, I'm going to do Y, I'm going to do Z. And here is what we should start getting into the brass tacks and brass process of this. Step three, I would begin brainstorming a controversy area immediately, and I wouldn't make it too elegant, too crazy, too verbose, or too big. Just make it something that's going to be feasible, palpable, and something that you're going to efficiently and quickly be able to get done. If you're still confused at any parts of this video, I would go back and check out the video where I went over the rubric of the group project in and of itself, and so you can actually start to comprehend all of those little internal processes. I'm not going to redo a lot of that stuff here because that's going to be very redundant for those that have already watched the video. Now, I gave some potential example areas. It could be COVID-19, it could be UMD, it could be food accessibility, it could be the environment, it could be while using plastic or stop using plastic straws in the cafeteria. There are a litany of ways in which you can approach this subject matter at hand. It is not simply just pick one of them. It can be anything that you find as a good kind of way in which you all don't mind doing a little bit of research, doing a little bit of studying so that you're able to get this done. And then start brainstorming as step four all of the other components of the speech. Somebody's going to need to be in charge of the group outline, which is just taking the little individual parts of the speech and assigning them together. And the last part is assign a person to each of those areas. So for instance, I would say that one person should be in charge of the group outline. One person should easily be in charge of, say, just like how we're going to organize the speech itself proper. Or you could already begin to discuss this with your groups together. And one person just needs to be in charge of putting the video together. Now, you have a couple options when you record. You can either record at the same time, which is synchronously, or you can record independently and have one person staple it together, which is the last of these components here on the chart. Now, what we can also kind of talk about in this instance, or at least in this moment, we can also say, once we have these rest of these steps together, one person is in charge of the introduction. One person is in charge of, say, identifying the problem. One person is in charge of solution 1. One person's in charge of solution 2. One person's in charge of solution 3. And one person's in charge of the conclusion. Now, if you do this early on, you don't have to spend a lot of time saying who's doing what, what's going on there. As long as your part of the group project is done, then you're done with the group project. This would be my way of doing this in a world where, for instance, I don't know if I can meet with everybody at the same time or the same place or the same space and say, all right, as long as I do my main component of this speech, I am finished. And that is the way in which you can approach the group project without making it fully we need to hands-on be working together all of the time, which I know is very challenging right now, and is also a pretty simple way to say, okay, now I know I need to have a 3-minute video on a conclusion of a speech on why we should all wash our hands more. And so you know what you can do. You know you need 2 citations or 3 citations or whatever your group assigns or needs from you in those areas, and you can put that together and then send all of your components out. Hey, that person working on the group outline, here's my section of the group outline. Hey, the person organizing the video, here is my section of the video. And once those things are done, they can be easily out of your hands. The final thing I would like to just say is that all speeches are going to be due on May 11th, which is 18 days, which is not super far away, but also not super close. So I would at least make sure the ball is continually rolling towards the end goal, because this is the final big project that you're going to be doing this semester. And so might as well just get it done. Y'all have been fantastic this year so far. So let's end it off on such a high note that we started with. And even though 2020 is doing its best to keep us all apart, let's kick some butt. Have a nice one, y'all.